everyone, this is Grisha from CodeLab, and today this video is for creating an Express server. Express.js is a Node.js framework for creating web servers. These servers will usually run in the backend, where they post and retrieve data from a database. Express.js handles all client requests and has a simple routing mechanism through URLs when we create our own API. So let's get started. So we should already have our npm package, and let's go ahead and install an Express using npm I express. And this will allow us to use all the functionalities from Express. And then we're also going to go ahead and install a package called Nodemon, and we're going to install it globally, so we do a -g before Nodemon, so we do npm I g Nodemon. And what this does is globally installs Nodemon everywhere throughout this one folder. And what Nodemon does is it basically watches for any changes in our files, and it will restart the server to reflect those changes in our application instead of us having to manually restart the server every time. And now let's just bring the basic code of creating an Express server, and I'll go line by line to explain it. So this first line is basically bringing in the Express framework and storing it in a constant so that we can refer to it and use it whenever. The second line is really important. It's where we initialize our Express server, and we save it to another constant, and we use this constant to call all other methods of Express, such as this one here, listen. And the last third constant is a port of our server, and we're saving it into a constant. And this is basically when Express allows you to create a server that listens to a particular port on localhost. So whatever changes happens in the backend, or whatever request it receives, this port will receive that request, and then we will complete that request in the backend. And lastly, this is basically when the server connection is established. It'll keep listening to the port for any requests, and whenever it does, or whenever we change something, it'll refresh itself, and then we'll get a confirmation message saying it is indeed listening at this port. So let's go ahead and run it to see that it does indeed print it. Print app listening, and we use the command nodemon server to detect any changes, and of course it does print to the console that we are listening at port 5000. And this is our main URL where we attach all other routes to this one. Okay. Now we're going to go onto a router for our server. So I'm going to just copy and paste this here. And here we're initializing a router to listen to any of our other requests related to, in this case, items. And we create a URL for items, which will go right over here. So it'll be localhost 5000/items. And what this is that we've just created an additional URL with different actions for different requests. So any request related to items will go through this item router and will be identified using this URL. So I'll go more into items real quick. And over here is called a GET request, where basically whenever we use this URL, and this is a default URL, so if there's nothing after items, then this will initiate the GET request. So if I just do this or this, it'll go here because this is the route we've specified for our GET request. This is a request and response object, which I'll get more into on the third video of this playlist. And basically what it does is whenever we receive the URL of localhost 5000 items, it'll print to the console saying request received with the request object. And our response object will just be to send hello world. And of course, this line basically connects it back to server.js. So we initialize our router, which we use here on line 5 and 6. And this router is initialized using the express method. And notice that this is basically a condensation of lines 1 and 2 over here. But we're only going to use this once, so that's fine over here. Over here we do use it multiple times, so it's better to have a constant called app. And yeah, once we do officially get our GET request, we can test it out on Insomnia over here, where our URL matches our backend localhost 5000/items, and it does indeed have a response of hello world.